إلى يوم الدين أما بعد السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Chapter 17 says باب الصلاة على النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم بعد التشهد. حديث كعب بن عجرة رضي الله عنه عن عبد الرحمن بن أبي ليلى قال لقيني كعب بن عجرة فقال ألا أهدي لك هدية سمعتها من النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم؟ فقلت بلى فأهدها لي. فقال سألنا رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم فقلنا يا رسول الله كيف الصلاة عليكم أهل البيت فإن الله قد علمنا كيف نسلم عليكم. قال قولوا اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. اللهم بارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. حديث أبي حميد الساعدي رضي الله عنه أنهم قالوا يا رسول الله كيف نصلي عليك؟ فقال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم قول اللهم صل على محمد وأزواجه وذريته كما صليت على إبراهيم وبارك على محمد وأزواجه وذريته كما باركت على آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. Last night we were discussing Tashahhud in the Salah. And we're discussing the ruling of making the Tashahhud in the Salah. Is it obligatory? Is it preferred? Is it recommended? And what are the ways and the styles, in brief, of making the Tashahhud? From the Hadith of Abdullah ibn Mas'ud radiyallahu ta'ala anhu. Tayyib, Hadith 226 from chapter 16. That was last night. As far as the supplications that you are to make after the Tashahhud and the other recommended acts or obligatory acts or the other things that are preferred, so on and so forth, then they are to be taken in other places and other sources. So therefore tonight we have a finely tuned issue of the Tashahhud. It's a branch of last night. A branch of what? Of last night. Last night we spoke on what? A Tashahhud in general. The foundation of its ruling. And now we have something that's specific with regards to that which comes after the Tashahhud. And that is the Salah and the Taslim upon the Nabi al-Kareem alayhi salatu wasalam. Everybody understand this? Now as a new Muslim or as a born Muslim, oftentimes when you learn the Salah and the Salam upon the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, you're taught and it's explained to you that all of that is called what? Tashahhud. But we've seen and we've studied last night that that's not necessarily the case. Because you're not making any shahada in this part. You're asking Allah to send prayers and salutations upon the Prophet ﷺ for the Prophet ﷺ's name to be mentioned fil mala al-a'la, in the highest company of angels, the salah, and in the meaning of the salah and the salam upon the Prophet ﷺ, that does not pertain to what? The shahada. Everybody understand this? Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluh. That's the Tashahhud initially, as we took last night. And the salah and the salam upon the Prophet ﷺ is connected to the Tashahhud from one aspect, from another aspect is different. Now, we mentioned last night what the ulama of Islam in brief say about the Tashahhud, whether it's mandatory or not. So those who say that the Tashahhud isn't mandatory, we also want to see what they say about the salah and the salam upon the Prophet ﷺ. But of course, a Muslim shouldn't leave off these things, whatever the case, whatever the technical ruling is. Khairan, inshallah. So, the Salah ala Nabi sallallahu ba'da Tashahhud says after the Tashahhud. We have Hadith 227, which is narrated by a name you don't hear too often, a companion whose name you don't come across but so often, whose name is Ka'b, the son of Ujra. We have Ka'b ibn Malik, and the other from the Sahaba who had that name as well. So, Ka'b ibn Ujra, radiallahu anhu, he said to a man whose name was Abdurrahman ibn Abi Layla, who's from the followers of the Sahaba. He said to him, Ala uhdi laka hadiyatan. It says, narrated Abdurrahman ibn Abi Layla, Ka'b ibn Ujra met me and said, shall I not give you a present I got from Prophet or the Prophet sallallahu. Abdurrahman said, yes, give it to me. I said, we asked Allah's Messenger sallallahu, saying, O Allah's Messenger, how should one ask Allah to send us salah, graces, honors, and mercy upon you and the members of the family? For Allah has taught us how to greet you. he said, say, Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ala ali Muhammadin kama sallaita ala Ibrahima wa ala ali Ibrahima innaka Hamidun Majid. Allahumma barik ala Muhammadin wa ala ali Muhammadin kama barakta ala Ibrahim أو كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. And now in this version we have the actual translation, not like last night. We have the translation here, not like last night. It says, "O Allah, send your salah, grace, honors, and mercy on Muhammad and the family or the followers of Muhammad, as you sent your salah, graces, honors, and mercy on Abraham, and on the family or the followers of Ibrahim, for you are the most praiseworthy, the most glorious. O Allah, send your blessings on Muhammad and the family or the followers of Muhammad, as you sent your blessings on Ibrahim and on the family or followers of Ibrahim, for you are the most praiseworthy, the most glorious." Then we have Hadith 228, was narrated by Abu Humayd as-Sa'idi, radiyallahu anhu. The people asked, "O Allah's Messenger, how should we ask Allah to send as-salah, graces, honors, and mercy on you?" Allah's Messenger ﷺ replied, say, Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ala azwajihi wa dhurriyyatihi kama sallaita ala ali Ibrahima wa barik ala Muhammadin wa azwajihi wa dhurriyyatihi kama barakta ala ali Ibrahima innaka Hamidun Majid. O Allah, send your salah, graces, honors, and mercy on Muhammad and on his wives and on his offspring, as you send your salah, graces, honors, and mercy on Ibrahim, Abraham's family, and send your blessings on Muhammad and on his wives and his offspring, as you sent your blessings on Ibrahim, Abraham's family, for you are the most praiseworthy, the most glorious. So we see here in both narrations, 227, 228, Ka'b ibn Ujrah's hadith and Abu Humayd as-Sa'idi radiyallahu anhu, his hadith, it teaches us the specifics of sending the salah on the Prophet ﷺ in the salah after the tashahhud. You made the tashahhud, before you make the taslim, you make this supplication, unless you wish to say something else from the supplications ending the salah. Everybody understand this? And we said in the fard salah, it should be in Arabic and only be in Arabic in the fard salah. One may even say that about the recommended salah, but specifically in the fard salah, the safest thing is that it should only be in Arabic. Now, the hadith, both narrations teach us one main thing. So hadith 227, this hadith shows us the value and the weight. It shows us the importance and the status of the honorable hadiths of the Prophet ﷺ in the early days of Islam. Not like James Robson or Goldseye or this one and that one, and the Muslims or people that used to be Muslims say, who followed them, that the hadith was never ever important in the early days of Islam. That hadiths were only important in the time of Imam Shafi'i. Everybody understand this? That's the only time hadiths were important. Shafi'i, he died in the beginning of the 3rd century. Some say year 202, and others say year 204. They say before Shafi'i, hadiths were of no value to the Muslims. And it was only Quran. And it was only the opinions of the Sahaba, the Tabi'een. Then later on, after Shafi'i came, and he supported the madrasa of hadith, and he wrote those champion works on usul, and spoke on usul, and khabar ahad, and ihtijaj bis sunnah, so on and so forth. Now, the people of Mecca, they call him Nasir al-Sunnah. They call him the supporter of the Sunnah. They say after once Shafi'i came, then it became orthodox for there to be Quran, Sunnah, Hadith. Then the Ijma', Qiyas, so on and so forth. But before that, it was never ever of any value whatsoever. They said the Muslims gave no importance to the Hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, mutlaqan. It was just the Quran. Obviously, from a common sense standpoint, that just doesn't make sense. It doesn't sound right. For the one who was given the Quran, sent down upon him, his physical, verbal interpretations of the Quran was of no value until Shafi'i came along. It's just pure stupidity. However, certain things that they say, certain things that they mention, certain stories, some are totally bogus, some are maybe authentic but misconstrued, let alone the fact that the study of Islam and the study of the way of the Orient, Orientalism, the study of the way of the people of the East, most of it, if not all of it, is based off of racial superiority and inferiority. Is that everything that we bring to your lands is better. Our research, our criticism, our modes, our methods are better, and you're an inferior race as a people, let alone inferior religion. Everybody understand this? So therefore it is upon us to explain and extract and deduce. It is upon us to lay down the laws of Islam. Everybody understand this? And what is authentic and what is not authentic. And the people, as we said before, who followed them, who came later on, some of them were Muslim, some of them left Islam, who had so much respect and honor because of that inferiority complex of race, of religion, of technology, of Western superiority. Everybody understand this? This is the modern world today. Everybody understand this? And it's not just Islam. Any study of the science of the East, we're talking about the Orthodox schools, universities. As far as other individuals, then that's a different story. There's some people who go to the East and they have the exact opposite, that all the Eastern culture is superior to the Western culture. And it's far advanced. Everybody understand this? But we're talking about the early days of this study. Everybody understand this? So they wrote the books. They produced the books. They wrote the scholarly articles, the critical articles, the Asiatic Oriental Society, so on and so forth. And they spread this. Everybody understand this? And they propagated this ideology. The hadiths are of no value whatsoever. So this hadith right here clearly refutes that statement. Whereas Ka'b radiallahu anhu, he said to Abdurrahman ibn Abi Layla, he said, Ala uhdi laka hadiyatan. He says, let me give you a gift. And he said, what? Is this gift is something that I heard from the Prophet? And what did he say? Of course. To show and to prove that the hadith was of something that was what? No doubt. Solid gold. Whereas he called it a gift, a hadiyah. And if it was no point, of no value, of no importance, then he wouldn't have said that. Nor would Abdurrahman ibn Abi Layla have said that. Nor would he have suggested, make the tashahhud however you want to. As some people say, that you can't say that the sunnah teaches us how to pray. Because one of the easiest, most common tools that are used against Quran or hadith rejectors, not called Quranis, don't call them that. That's improper to call them a Qurani. Okay? Hadith rejectors, all right? The Muslims who battle them, they say, well, how do you pray if there's no value of hadith? Hadith means nothing. How do you make salah? The Quran says to make ruku', to make sujood, qiyaman wa qu'udan, standing, sitting, so on, but it doesn't give you no detail. Everybody understand this? They say, well, and I've read this before in a book, someone claimed to be a scholar. He said that the Quran, the hadith doesn't teach us how to pray. He says it's untrue. He says we learn how to pray from our forefathers. And our forefathers, they learned from their fathers, from their fathers, from the fathers who learned it from Abraham, but not Muhammad. So just look what stupidity does to someone. So Muhammad's words are of no value. They're all bogus. They're all fabricated. They're all made up. But Abraham's words are traced back. What language did Abraham speak? Read and study. They differ. And there's no decisive statement on the language of Abraham. Some say Arabic. Some say Hebrew. Some say Syriac. Some say this. Some say that. But everybody knows with consensus that Muhammad spoke what? Arabic. So isn't it common sense? If you want to say that someone's words are fabricated and made up, untraceable, unscientific, who's easier, Muhammad or Abraham? Whose words are easier to trace back? What a question. So look, what stupidity does what? To its owner. Or as some Muslims, some brothers say, Uncle Fahd says, high class ignorance. You have ignorance and there's what? High class, expensive ignorance, fancy ignorance. Everybody understand this? Understand this? High class, what? Ignorance. So he says that Abraham taught the Muslims how to pray, and Abraham passed it down to the Muslims up to this day, but not Muhammad. And the list goes on of the bogus wax statements with regards to the hadiths and their misconceptions. And these views, you still find them in the universities. Orientalism in its study has died down in general because of the colonial era is done. It's over. Most of the different countries that were once colonies of Great Britain, of Italy, of Spain, of Portugal, of Germany, and etc., most of them have gotten their independence. And if they got their independence, we know we don't get into political issues. What's important is the study of Orientalism is not how it was back then. But the ideas, they're still around. They still float around. You'll find them in some books. Some Muslim writers, scholars still have the influence on their minds. Everybody understand this? So that's wrong and that's incorrect. We clearly see that he says, let me give you a what? A gift. Everybody clear on this? And Abdurrahman ibn Layla was what? Eager to what? Accept and receive the gift. Khairan inshallah. Moving forward. He says, I heard this from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Abdurrahman ibn Layla says, Bala fa'ahdiha li. He says, of course, give it to me. He says that one day we, the Sahaba, nahnu, the Ka'b ibn Ujra saying, we asked the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam how to send prayers upon you. Ahlul Bayt, you, your family, your wives, your children, how to send prayers upon you in the Salah, as if they were taught to send prayers upon the Prophet ﷺ from the Quran, from Surah Al-Ahzab, and also from the teachings of the Prophet ﷺ. So the Prophet ﷺ, he said, Qulu, say. And then he taught them the supplication. Allahumma, O Allah, صلي على محمد وعلى محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد, to the end of these two supplications. Khairan, inshallah. We also benefit from this hadith is that a man's wives and his children, his offspring, are also considered from Ahlul Bayt. And the wives of the Prophet ﷺ are Ahlul Bayt. His wives are Ahlul Bayt. Naam. And his children are also Ahlul Bayt. We benefit that as well. As far as the discussion on who is Ahlul Bayt, that's a discussion every Muslim should research and study. Everyone who's a descendant of the Prophet or has some type of blood relation is not necessarily considered Ahlul Bayt. Rather, it's a specific lineage. They come from a few people. Their children, they are considered what? Ahlul Bayt. Everyone who has some relation to Muhammad is not considered what? Ahlul Bayt. That's incorrect, misconception. Everybody understand this? We can't give you the details of that right now. You can figure that out, inshallah ta'ala. Who is considered to be Ahlul Bayt and why? What's important is here, his wives and his children are what? Are clear on this or not? Tayyib. Now, we don't have to get into the confusion or just the total chaotic mess of today, what they have become, and the disrespect to Ahlul Bayt as well. And the top of the list, those who are disrespected by the Shia and the Rafida is Ali radiallahu anhu, the one that many of them worship and call upon and seek help in and slaughter for, or those who aren't that extreme. They don't necessarily worship him, meaning the specific worship, even though the word worship in English is a broader term than just actual ibadah, bowing down. Hero worship somebody, to exalt someone on such a standard. Everybody understand this? What's important is that they make Ali radiallahu anhu to be a total weak and inferior coward. Everything about his life was taken away from him. He was oppressed. The Sahaba, they wronged him. They did this to him. They took this from him. They took the Khilafah from him. They took the Risala from him. His daughters were married, so on and so forth. He's a total weakling. And they don't even realize this. Read what they say about Ali and how they mourn and this and that. And you read it, you'll say, this guy Ali has to be a total chump. Everything was taken away from him. He had no power, no status, nothing. That's what they say about him. As far as you read the Hadiths of the Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah, then Ali radiallahu anhu was a noble Muslim. Was a great warrior. Naam Khalid? Everybody understand this? And he wasn't of no need of these superstitions and the folklore and this hadith. He killed 1,000 people with one swing of his sword and this and that and so on and so forth. That makes him to be some type of mystical, weak person. And that's incorrect. So the true respect and love for Ahlul Bayt, for Ali radiallahu anhu, his offspring, Fatima, so on and so forth, is what Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah. And if you read what they say about Ahlul Bayt and Ali, you'll find the exact what? The exact opposite. Everybody understand this? And this is the case that whenever you go against the divine path because of extremely running from something, you always fall on something worse. Everybody understand this? This is the rule. You go against the divine path, the Quran and Sunnah, that's clear. And the only reason why you go to this interpretation or the hadith is weak and this and that, we running because we're trying to get away from it, is because they're trying to get away from something that's supposedly bad. Such as Allah's attributes. They say Allah can't be above the throne because it puts him in a mortal location. Yadullahi fawqa aydihim. Allah's hand is over their hands. This Yadullahi fawqa wal-Marjan. They can't say Allah can't have a hand. A hand is a human being's attribute. Hands are weak. Hands are similar. Hands are this, so on and so on and so on and so forth. Al-Islam mutamathila. This is why they make the false interpretation of Allah's attributes, whatever the attribute may be. Allah can love. Allah loves. And Allah yuhibbu alladhina. And Allah yuhibbu tawwabin wa tamutahin. And Allah yuhibbu alladhina. No. You can't say that. Because love is a human emotion. And love is mayalanun qalb. Is one's heart turning and being inclined, etc. قَوْمًا غَضِبَ اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِمْ غَيْرِ الْمَغْضُوبِ عَلَيْهِمْ فَبَاءُوا بِغَضَبٍ عَلَى غَضَبٍ. They say Allah can't have anger. Because anger is also someone's rage flaring in the blood, and so Allah doesn't have these things. They distort all of Allah's attributes because they don't want to make Allah similar to his what? To his creation. And in the end, they fall on something that's 10 times worse. Allah is not above, he's not below, he's not in, he's not out. He doesn't have this, he doesn't have this. He said, it just totally is nothing left. So that's the qa'idah. That's the what? That's the qa'idah. Whenever you run from the divine path, out of fear of something, you end up falling into what? Far worse. Everybody understand this? The same applies to life as well. The same applies to what? As life. Everybody understand this? You don't want to get married, which is the natural way for a man to be with a woman. It's natural. It's a natural way to have children, have a family. It's a natural way. So you run from that because of some of the fears of marriage, the problems of divorce, and you end up falling into what? Something much worse. And then this goes on example after example after example after example. Khair, inshallah. We're not here to talk about the Shia or Rafida in detail. These are just some points of what? Food for thought. Inshallah ta'ala, for you guys to do some research and read further into that. An-Nawawi rahimahullah ta'ala, he says regarding this chapter and his Sharh of Sahih Muslim, Bismillah. طيب.
Let's take Van Wyck Expressway, Service Road, Queens.
Reading from last night, some more fawaid from last night now. Some more fawaid before we go into these two hadiths tonight. Now, An-Nawawi rahimahullah ta'ala, he says, قوله في آخر الصلاة السلام عليكم فقيل معناه التعويذ بالله والتحصين به سبحانه وتعالى فإن السلام اسم له سبحانه وتعالى تقديره الله عليكم حفيظ وكفيل كما يقال الله معك أي بالحفظ والمعونة واللطف وقيل معناه السلامة والنجاة لكم ويكون مصدرا كاللذاذ واللذاذ كما قال الله تعالى فسلام لك من أصحاب اليمين. He says واللذاذ كما قال الله تعالى فسلام لك من أصحاب اليمين. واعلم أن السلام الذي في قوله السلام عليك أيها النبي السلام علينا وعلى عباد الله الصالحين يجوز فيه حذف الألف واللام فيقال السلام عليك أيها النبي والسلام علينا ولا خلاف في جواز الأمرين هنا ولكن الألف واللام أفضل وهو الموجود في روايات صحيحي البخاري ومسلم. وأما الذي في آخر الصلاة وهو السلام والتحليل فاختلف أصحابنا فيه فمنهم من جوز الأمرين فيه هكذا ويقول الألف واللام أفضل ومنهم من أوجب الألف واللام لأنه لم ينقل إلا بالألف واللام. That in this hadith of the Tashahhud of Ibn Mas'ud of last night, when you say Assalamu alaikum, Assalamu alayna wa ala ibadillahi salihin, Assalamu alayka ayyuhan nabiyyu, when you say this, he says, then what's meant here by As-Salam. And it's also important when you greet your brother. What does it mean, Assalamu alaikum? He says, some say that it means a ta'weez with tahsin, is that you're asking for protection for your brother. Asking for your brother to be divinely protected. When you say Assalamu alaikum, it's for him to be what? Divinely protected. You're asking Allah to give him refuge and protection. And that's because As-Salam is one of Allah's names, as we took what? Last night. And he says, and the meaning of this name of Allah is Hafiz and Kafil. When you say Assalamu alaikum, it means may Allah be your protector. May Allah be your vanguard. May Allah be the one who's watching over you and watching after you. May you be in peace and safety. We explained this last night. Allah is As-Salam, and He gives what? Allahumma anta as-salam wa minka as-salam. Tabarakta ya dhan jalali wal ikram. Tayyib. He then says, just like people say, Allahumma, may Allah be with you. Meaning, may Allah be with you with protection. May Allah be with you with help and with support. May you be rightly guided. May you have a good, blessed day. Not to get in the car. May you be what? Safe and sound. Inshallah ta'ala. Tayyib. Moving forward, he mentions some grammatical issues. Then he says here, it's also permissible to say Salamun alayna wa ala ibadillahi salihin. Salamun alayka ayyuhan nabi. You don't have to say As-Salamu. Tayyib. Then he moves forward with regards to saying the tahleel, when it's time to salam out of the prayer. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Do you have to say Assalamu alaikum? Or can you just say Salamun alaikum wa rahmatullah? Salamun alaikum wa rahmatullah. He mentions the different views of the ulama with regards to that. Khairan inshallah ta'ala. He says, وَعَلَى عِبَادِ اللَّهِ الصَّالِحِينَ قَالَ الزَّجَّاجِ وصاحب المطالع وغيرهم أو وغيرهما العبد الصالح هو القائم بحقوق الله تعالى وحقوق العباد. What does it mean when someone is righteous, or the righteous servants of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? He says this means someone who's righteous is someone who's fulfilling Allah's rights and fulfilling the rights of his servants. That's the simple, easy definition of someone who's righteous. Sheikh Khan, you have a daughter. A brother comes to you to marry your daughter. You say, Sheikh Mufti, is this brother righteous? What am I going to say? His character, where he comes from, who he sits with, this, that, so on and so forth. I could summarize and say, inshallah, he's righteous. I know him to be righteous. Because the only thing that I've seen from him is that inshallah, he's carrying out Allah's rights. Salah in Jama'ah. I saw him fasting. I made Hajj with him. Allah's rights. That which is to my naked eye, to the apparent. Allah, Allahu Alam, his secrets. Everybody understand this? And also the huquq of Allah's servants. He has a cat. He has a cat, hunting dog. Let's say mathalan, I went over his house. The cat was nice and plump. Wasn't starving. Cat wasn't hungry. Everybody understand this? He has a hunting dog. The dog is well taken care of. He has children. The children were happy. He walked in the house. They ran up to him. Everybody understand this? Allah's servants, his neighbor, his boss, his employees. The huquq of Allah's what? Allah's what, Khalid? Allah's what? Servants. Everybody understand this? That's the definition of someone who's what? Righteous. There's no long, lengthy explanation. That's what? That's needed. He's fulfilling Allah's rights and he's fulfilling the rights of what? The servants of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Obviously, perfection is for Allah, and there are levels of this. You make a sin, I make a sin, and make a mistake. But in general, in most cases, he's fulfilling the rights of what? Allah Azza wa Jal. And fulfilling the rights of the what? The servants of what? Allah Azza wa Jal. He doesn't give his cat the gourmet cat food every single meal. But in general, the cat is not what? Starving. You may go some places, and this is a reality. You see cats that are what? Starving. Mangy. And this is a pet. Something's what? Wrong if you're not taking care of the servants of Allah, no matter who they are. A cat, a hamster, everybody understand this? A gerbil, or what? Your grandmother. They're all what? Servants of Allah. Everybody understand this or not? I know the Prophet told us that a woman entered the hellfire because of a what? A cat. A woman entered the hellfire because of a what? A cat. Some ignorant people, they say that this hadith is totally fabricated and bogus. How could a woman go to hell and be punished in hell for something so minuscule, so minor, so insignificant? A cat. And these people, unfortunately, they don't have no deen or no dunya, no understanding of either of the two. As far as the deen, it's not for me or you to just reject the hadith because it doesn't suit your taste or what you think about in your narrow mind, if it's authentically proven in the science of hadith. Secondly is, a woman going to the hellfire for a cat is not just because of the cat, but her starving the cat to death. She didn't let the cat go outside and eat, nor did she feed the cat inside of her house. That proved what? No doubt. A blackened heart, an evil heart. You have to be wretched to do that. To take an animal and starve it to death. You know how long it takes a human being or an animal, someone that's a mammal to starve off of food? It doesn't happen in a day or 2 days. It takes some time for somebody to do what? Starve. And it's clear as day. The cat gets skinnier and skinnier, the ribs, less energy, it can't move, it's trying to get some food and you just look at it locked up. That's evil. So the reason why she went to the fire is because her heart was what? Was mudlim. No nur in that heart whatsoever. Everybody understand this? And the same applies to torturing people, treating children wrong, abusing children, or anything else. It's an indicator for what? Something else. Everybody understand? It's an indicator for what? For something else. So this is one of the ways that you determine who is and who isn't righteous. Fulfilling the rights of Allah and fulfilling the rights of His servants to the best of your ability. Khair, inshallah. Moving forward. He says here, وقوله وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله قال أهل اللغة يقال رجل محمد ومحمود إذا كثرت خصاله المحمودة قال ابن فارس وبذلك سمي نبينا صلى الله عليه وسلم محمدا يعني لعلم الله تعالى بكثرة خصاله المحمودة. طيب, he says here ألهم أهله التسمية بذلك. And then we say Muhammad, as we mentioned in last week's khutbah, worthy of praise, that a man is Muhammad and also Mahmud if he has abundant praiseworthy characteristics. Abundant, not a few, but what? Abundant characteristics of praise. And they say that Prophet Muhammad was named this, it's not Ibn Qayyim like we mentioned in the khutbah. He says, they say, because Allah Azza wa Jalla knew that he would have an abundance of praiseworthy characteristics, his family, they were inspired to call him Muhammad. And they were people of shirk and kufr. He says that his family, mother, father, they were what? They were divinely what? Divinely inspired to give him the name what? Muhammad. Everybody understand? It's like we explained about the name being chosen for him. Khairan inshallah. Moving forward, he says here, قوله صلى الله عليه وسلم ثم يتخير من المسألة ما شاء في استحباب الدعاء في آخر الصلاة قبل السلام وفيه أنه يجوز الدعاء بما شاء من أمور الآخرة والدنيا ما لم يكن إثما وهذا مذهبنا ومذهب الجمهور وقال أبو حنيفة رحمه الله تعالى لا يجوز إلا بالدعوات الواردة في القرآن والسنة واستدل به جمهور العلماء على أن الصلاة على النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم في التشهد الأخير ليست واجبة ومذهب الشافعي وأحمد وإسحاق وبعض أصحاب مالك رحمه الله تعالى ووجوبها في التشهد الأخير فمن ترك باطل الصلاة وقد جاء في رواية من هذا الحديث في غير مسلم زيادة فإذا فعلت ذلك فقد تمت صلاتك ولكن هذه زيادة ليست صحيحة عن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم. Says here, the part of the hadith that says, then he should choose ثم يتخير من المسألة ما شاء, let him pick any dua that he wants, say any dua that he wants, any supplication he wants after the tashahhud, as we explained last night. He says this part of the hadith proves is that it's recommended to make dua in the last part of your salah. This part of the hadith proves that it's recommended to make dua when? At the end of your salah. Alright? And that you can make any dua that you want. Worldly, religious, spiritual, any dua that you want, as long as it isn't sinful. As long as it isn't a dua that pertains to what? Sin, ithm. Saying something that's negative, something that's foul, something that's volatile, etc. He says, and this is our madhab, a madhab of most of the ulama, is that you can make any dua that you want to. It's open, it is not restricted, as long as it isn't what? Sin. Abu Hanifa, listen carefully to this, and just think about all the masjids that you may go to that say that they're Hanafi or they follow Abu Hanifa. Abu Hanifa is the greatest imam. He says, Abu Hanifa says, it is unlawful to make a dua except that which is in Quran and Sunnah. In the salah. Listen to this. Talk about the salah and then apply it to the other things. And just gauge this now. Abu Hanifa saying, it's unlawful to make a dua in this part of the salah except for that which is what? From the Kitab and Sunnah. So take that one statement and post it up in the masjid. And just think about it and ponder on it. This is what Abu Hanifa is saying. So to make up a dua, to mix a dua, to match a dua, to collaborate a dua, to make a collage, a stew of gumbo. A verse from here, a hadith from there, Allahumma kada, this and that. This is what the du'as are. They just what? Put together. We know what gumbo is? What is it, Sheikh Khan? Tell them what it is. All types of stuff blended perfectly together with the right amount of spice, pepper, little crayfish, shrimp, this, that, sausage, so on and so forth, and you have a stew. It looks good, it smells good, it tastes good. Everybody understand this? And the same applies to what today? The dua, the supplications that people make on Hajj, in Ramadan, before the salah, after the salah. And then you say, Akhi, you can't make that dua, you shouldn't make that dua. What's bad about the dua? Oh, Allah, give me this. What's the mushkila? It's not for me or you to just what? Cut and paste and mix and match. And a patch into it, make it so a nice, rhythmic, methodic what? Dua that sounds so beautiful. Abu Hanifa said, don't make what? In the salah. Don't make any dua unless it's from Kitab and Sunnah. So this, even though it's pertaining to one specific issue, this should be a slogan of your ibadah. If you call yourself Hanafi, don't make up anything unless it's from what? Kitab and Sunnah. And how can you do that unless you have the proper ilm? Everybody understand this? And there are other statements. If we go and read about Abu Hanifa and other imams, what they said about Sunnah, what they said about Bid'ah, what they said about following the deen, what they said about blind following. Everybody understand this? What they said about extremism that so many Muslims do today, and they say we're followers of Abu Hanifa. It's very unfortunate. Everybody understand this? The true legacy of these imams. And the same applies to the modern people today with regards to the modern day scholars. We follow Sheikh Fulan, we're with the ulama, we love the ulama, we follow the ulama, and they're not really following the true legacy of those what? those ulama, as we were asked, do you follow the grading of Sheikh al-Albani? Someone asked me. Do you follow the ruling of, what's the purpose of me studying in Medina University all of those years if I'm just going to open a book, Sahih, khalas? This makes no sense. Let alone the fact that Sheikh al-Albani, rahimahullah ta'ala, was the one who said what? Don't do that. He was the one who said what? Read and research. Read and research. Don't blindly follow anybody. Everybody understand this? We explained this before, but it's something that needs to be often, it needs to be said because it's not a small issue. We're not talking people that say that Jamaat Tabligh or people that are Sufi. We're talking people who say that Salafiyun. We're following the pure way of Islam. And this is their mindset, how they want you to be. Everybody understand this? The true legacy of Sheikh al-Albani was to do what? And how many times did Sheikh al-Albani rahimahullah go against the majority of the ulama and talk about things and say things? And he said, this is what I feel. This is what my research has led me to. You like it? Alhamdulillah. If you don't, I'm only responsible for my ijtihad. Nobody else's view or opinion. Everybody understand this? And this is not me making this up. The books, the tapes, the lectures are what? And clear accessibility. You can go, you can read, listen to everything he said on these different issues. And the people today, they want you to just be a blind sheep. We translate it for you. Sheikh Fulan said it. Khalas, that's it. Don't think. There is no ijtihad. Just don't use your aql. And if you do, I'm going to research. It doesn't make sense to me. I don't agree. You're arrogant. You're conceited. You're prideful. You think you know everything. And they slander you with a list of abuses for no sin except for you wanting to do what? And this is unfortunate. This is one of the greatest musa'ib that has fell upon the Muslim nation of today and of past. One of the greatest afflictions that has happened to the Muslims when the Muslims stop thinking critically and they just begin to rely upon the next man and the next person. Moving forward, he says this hadith is also used by most of the ulama, not all of them, as that you do not have to send prayers upon the Prophet ﷺ and the last tashahhud, and that is only recommended. As far as the madhab of Imam al-Shafi'i and the madhab of Imam Ahmad, Ishaq, and some students of Malik, they said that you must send prayers upon the Prophet ﷺ and the last tashahhud. And if you don't, you do it intentionally, your prayer will be invalid. Khairan, inshaAllah ta'ala. And then he mentions a narration that says, فَإِذَا فَعَلْتَ ذَلِكَ فَقَدْ تَمَّتْ صَلَاتُكَ. It says a hadith outside of Sahih Muslim, if you do this, meaning sending the prayers upon the Prophet, then your prayer is complete. He says this part of the hadith is totally weak and totally inauthentic, which goes to show us once again how the different ulama of the madhabs, they become very critical of the narrations when it's a view that is not in line with their view. But when it's a hadith or narration, in most cases that's supporting their view, they're not as what? Critical. They're not saying they're fanatical, and but they're not as what? And this is well known. In the kutub of the madhahib, read Mughni, Ibn Qudama. You will be shocked. Khairan, inshallah. See how much time we have left? The next narration or the next chapter is hadith number 18, or chapter number 18, with regards to at-tasmi', at-tahmid, and at-ta'meen. This will be sufficient tonight. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala should knows best. Inshallah, we'll try our best to take a few brief questions. Jazakumullah khairan.